What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Amon's Toxic Gamer 331 back at it with another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first Mission Impossible movie that came out in 1997. I'm pretty sure. But before we get to the actual video itself, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free. Number two, we're on the road to 300 subscribers. Just 71 away now. We're really help out you, boy, if you did subscribe. That also goes for people that have been watching my channel for a while and haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to like the video if you like my toxic movie reviews. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications and notification when I upload. Also, do share the video because it also help me out. And do feel free to comment as well. But with that being said, do feel free to comment your thoughts on Mission Impossible down below. That's what I meant to say. But before we get to actual review itself, let's give a quick plot synopsis, shall we? So, transition and Shazam. When U.S. government operative Ethan Hunt and his mentor Jim Phelps go on a covert assignment that takes a disastrous turn, Jim is killed and Ethan becomes the prime murderer suspect. Now a fugitive, Hunt recruits brilliant hacker Luther Stickle and maverick pilot Franz Krieger to help him sneak into a heavily guarded CIA building to retrieve a confidential computer file that will prove his innocence. So, well, guys, let's start where I started with the Mission Impossible franchise. I never grew up watching the Mission Impossible TV show, and I finally started watching the Mission Impossible movies, like, I'd like to say 2016 or 17, maybe? That's when I started watching them. And then, like, 2018, the 8th one came out, so we watched that, too, and, we'll get to all the other reviews later, but that's when I kind of started watching this franchise, and probably this is the best action movie franchise besides John Wick, I think. So with that being said, let's just get into the actual review, shall we? So, starting off with the positive, Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt was a great choice. I never watched the TV show, but I think this is probably his most memorable role, if not Maverick, probably, but this is his most memorable role for me. I think he does a great job in the role of Ethan Hunt, and I think as the movies progress, he gets better and better and better and better and better and better as Ethan Hunt, and more likable as Ethan Hunt. Another positive is the intense action scenes. Even though I've seen them before, you can still feel the suspense. Like, for example, the scene, excuse me, I just burped. The scene where, I burped again. Okay, am I done burping? Okay, I think I'm done burping. But the scene where he is, the iconic movie scene where he's getting lowered down into the big, like, white room, where he tries to get the knock list, that is a very suspenseful scene and a really good scene. And I think that's probably one of my favorite scenes in this franchise. If I had to choose, I think that's, like, in the top 5 for me, because I love that scene and you feel the tensity. And I think it's still so tense, and I love the scene, and it's really cool. So, yeah, and that, I always wondered what that scene was on the Great Movie Ride, and I always saw it at Disney World. I was going like, what's that movie scene from? And my mom said Mission Impossible, so, yeah. What else? A lot of memorable side characters in this as well. That's another positive that I can think of. For example, Luther, is same as Ethan Hunt. He gets better and better and better in pretty much every single movie. And this one, I feel like he's the best, I think, because this is, like, very different from the Luther in the more later Mission Impossible movies, because I feel like in the later Mission Impossible movies, he becomes more humble, and then this one, he's kind of a likable dude that's all cool and stuff, and yeah, and thinks he's all that, which it makes him a fun character. So, yeah, I think he's in his best here. Franz is an intimidating side character, and I also like how he's charismatic sometimes. There's one scene where what scene? There's one scene where where he's lowering Ethan Hunt into the White Room or whatever, and basically he attempts to bring Ethan back up, which he does successfully. Spoiler alert, but I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen this movie before. But he always goes, "You missed," or whatever. I forgot what he said, but it's the scene before he drops the knife or whatever, and he says, "Missed," or whatever, and I thought that line was pretty funny too, and I think that actor is very charismatic, which a whole lot of people know him for Leon the Professional, I think, so yeah. What else? Who else? There's also Kittredge, who they're bringing back in Dead Reckoning, which is cool. We didn't get to see, I think we got to see a decent amount of him in Mission Impossible 1. I think for Dead Reckoning, I think it's just going to be a cameo, which is interesting, so yeah, and it's interesting to see him back. And I wonder what they're going to do with his character. And then also another cool side character is in Emilio Estevez's character. Is a memorable, funny favorite side character of mine. He's like a really techie dude, even though he doesn't pop up much in the franchise. I enjoy his character. And then the final one, I think, the last positive I can come up with is also Jon Voight does a great job of being a sort of mentor role to Ethan Hunt. This was, I enjoy Jon Voight as the villain in this as well, later as well, when he reveals himself. I thought that was a pretty interesting reveal, and even though I don't think he's at the top of the Mission Impossible enemies list, but I think he is a good first enough villain. Then we got the mixed aspects of the film. There's only one. It's the handling of Claire's character. So Claire, I don't know why, but they keep on making her bounce between sides, and you don't know if you want to root for her, or you don't know what to boo her or whatever. It's too convoluted or whatever to actually get emotions to that character, if that makes sense. So that's why she's in the mixed. Also, some of the CGI is a little bit dated, but not bad for that time, because I do think that the CGI is a little bit dated, but not by a lot. I think the animation still looks pretty decent for that time, especially that train sequence with Ethan chasing Jon Voight's character, with Franz trying to help Jon Voight escape. I thought that was a pretty good scene, and the CGI wasn't bad for that time. Then we got the bad, which I only came up with 2, and one of them is just a minor negative. But how is Claire married to Jim? I think he's a little bit too old for her. That's just a minor negative of mine, but, like, how could she fall for him? Even though there's, like, people that are, like, 30-year-olds or whatever that are married to 60-year-olds. I think there's, like, one person, I forgot who, but there's a 60-year-old that's married to a 30-year-old somewhere. I don't know, but he seems a little bit too old for her around, so, yeah. And then the only negative I can come up with is the story doesn't really make sense. They don't, even though so if you walked into the movie without knowing what the plot synopsis is, when you didn't read the plot synopsis or whatever, I feel you will be lost in the story, because the plot synopsis doesn't, like, really, it's too confusing, the plot in this movie, because it bounces between different things and you don't know what the actual plot is, and it's kind of messy. But overall, that is my thoughts for Mission Impossible 1. So for my review of it, I am going to give it I'm going to bring out the toxic meter once again. I'm going to give it a toxic goodness, a B+. I still think this is a great, very good action movie. But with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Mission Impossible 1. And before we get into actual ending of the video itself, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number 1, it's absolutely free. Number 2, we're on the road to 300 subscribers. Just 71 away now. It would really help out you, boy, if you did subscribe. That also goes for people that have been watching my channel for a while and haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to like the video if you like my toxic movie reviews. Don't forget to ring the bell for all notifications and notification while I upload. Also, do share the video because also help me out.
Lucas from the future, I forgot to also mention that the score is amazing. Just wanted to point that out. Peace.